Have you ever had a moment where you were listening to a song or watching a movie and you felt like this is speaking to me? I don't know if anybody else can hear this. Like there's a hidden message here that is for me, for myself only. Like nobody else gets it. Like this is speaking to me, something like that. Well, I had a moment just like that when myself and the family, my wife and two kids, we were watching the final episode of season 1 of Andor, which is a Star Wars spin-off. And I went like, oh my gosh, this is not about a galaxy far, far away, but a galaxy deep, deep within. I really heard things that I hope will be educational and inspirational. So a different type of heard online today. I hope you like it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section. But we're going to jump into this episode, and I think you can learn a lot whether you're a Star Wars fan or not. Andor, I thought it was a really nice series, and there are not going to be any spoilers here. But basically, for those who don't know what this is about at all, in Andor, we get to know the seeds of the rebellion, and we get to know the backstory, how eventually the plan for the Death Star was delivered to the rebellion, and all this is kind of like the backstory of everything. But there is a character there named Nemik, and he has this manifesto that he's working on. And without saying anything further, let's watch 2 clips from Andor here, from the final season or final episode of Andor together.
He's writing a manifesto. Did he tell you? Apparently the only thing keeping us from liberty is a few more ideas.
There will be times when the struggle seems impossible. I know this already. Alone, unsure, dwarfed by the scale of the enemy. Remember this. Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously, without instruction.
Sorry to interrupt. There's a kind of real emotional moment, as you can see. But when I'll just say that when I started tuning in here, this what they said here just made me like, whoa, they're talking about something different here. They're talking about inner struggles. Is kind of where I get really interested in this part. And then like what really like hit me like on a gut level was what we're going to listen to right here.
The Imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort.
That line, tyranny requires constant effort, that to me was like, whoa, they're talking about like, they're in my world now. They're talking about like our things. Anyway, so you're going to learn a lot from these 2 clips that I hope, again, will be both educational and inspirational. And before we do, actually, just a quick thing. Star Wars is, of course, this about a galaxy far, far away where, struggle and battle actually probably does make sense. You kind of like in that world, right? It never does when it comes to the inner world. So, words like battle or struggle or skirmish, they're not something that leads to where we want in our world. But that said, there's so much to learn here. So anyway, I picked up three quotes I really want us to get into. And the first one is this one. Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. When I heard this, my brain went straight to our first principle, the principle of effortlessness. And I thought, wow, this is just another way of saying what we always say, which is that peace of mind and peaceful sleep are effortless. This is our first principle. They occur spontaneously without instruction. They happen by themselves. I thought, again, this quote was just another way of saying that what we want in life, which was peaceful sleep, peace of mind, this truly is effortless. It requires nothing. I thought that was really nicely put. And next, the next quote that really struck me was this one. The imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Now, the word unnatural is tricky because to me, everything that happens within us, our thoughts and feelings, all of that is natural. It's part of like who we are, of course. But we can still see so much truth in this. And the way I sort of like, the way I like what it was called, like translated this phrase into kind of our language, it was something like this. our attempts to have control can be so desperate. It can become so desperate because we're struggling with ourselves. When we are awake at night, that is just a surface manifestation of us being scared. And us being scared, our fear, is just part of our safety mechanism. It's us trying to be safe. But when we think like I shouldn't be awake at night, then we're in this like you kind of like our safety, like our own kind of safety machinery is sort of battling itself. We're struggling with ourselves. So this is why our attempts to have control can become so desperate, because we're in this struggle with ourselves. There's no way to win. In fact, the only way to leave the struggle is to abandon the idea that there is anything we need to fight. But this, again, the need for control can become really desperate because it is quote unquote unnatural in a sense. Again, spoke to me so much, but nothing like hit me on a gut level more than this quote: tyranny requires constant effort. When I heard that was really when I was like, whoa, this is about inner struggles. And again, tyranny is a very like loaded word, and it's one of those words that like there's no such thing when it comes to ourselves and our inner struggles. But the part, like, it can feel like we're being in some sort of like dictatorship or like in a mental prison or something like that when we're in the struggles. And the second part of this is just so true. I think to me it just translates to this: our inner struggles require constant effort. They require constant effort. And why somebody who's tuning in here, maybe you think like, why is it so groundbreaking? Well, it is because it's so counterintuitive to how we often look at things. It can seem like insomnia has a life of its own, and I need to stop it and do something about it to have peace of mind and peaceful sleep. But in reality, it's the complete opposite. It is insomnia that requires us to constantly try to stop it, or else it ceases to exist. In other words, like we can, or we can see like, what is this effort that I'm talking about? Well, it is things like classic sleep efforts, like trying to put in like blinds, or wearing earplugs, or taking supplements, or exercising, getting out of the bed the same time every day, trying to control our thoughts. Confusion, not understanding that this is like we're sort of struggling with ourselves. This confusion leads to these uneducated sleep efforts where we're just kind of desperately trying to do something to kind of control our sleep. So confusion is sort of a requirement for the sleep efforts that are a requirement for the struggle, if you will. So confusion leads to uneducated sleep efforts, and self-criticism, when we start thinking like, this is wrong, this shouldn't be happening, why is this happening to me, why can't I get it, why can't I be over this already, and things of that nature. That leads to kind of efforts that come from like pressuring ourselves. And when we see this, I think it becomes just so clear to see that our inner struggles, they require so much that they are actually fragile. Insomnia is actually fragile. Peaceful sleep is not fragile because it doesn't require anything. So when we see this, we can see that whenever we just remove a little effort with education and kindness, these requirements that the struggle have, they disappear. So the confusion that leads to these uneducated sleep efforts, that fades away when we are educated, and the self-criticism that leads to like this effort from pressuring ourselves, that fades away when we start being kind to ourselves. So to summarize all this again, our struggles require much, but we want to have no requirements. Some people ask me like, Daniel, how can you always be so optimistic? And that's another realization from seeing this episode. It's like this highlighted to me why I'm always so optimistic, which is that like our inner struggles require so much, and what we want actually requires nothing. So there's to me, what actually was said in the very beginning of the clip, which this character says kind of, with a great deal of irony, I think is actually true. The only thing keeping us from liberty is a few more ideas. That is all. That's it for today's Heard Online. Let me know what you thought about this episode. A little bit more like inspirational than our typical Heard Online episodes, but I hope it made much sense. I hope it gave you some education and inspiration. And as always, if you find that you are on the path to liberty, to freedom, to where you want to be, that is wonderful. Please let us know. If not, if you're finding that there is some confusion, there is maybe some self-criticism, it's not easy to grasp these concepts, then please do head over to our website, check out our coaching options. And if you decide to join one of our programs, we look forward to seeing you on the inside. Bye for now. See you soon.